Brett Veach, you better be working all night. You better bring me a freaking pass rusher in the morning. And now this video is out, and we all know if it happened or not.
So Brett Veach, if you haven't got to work yet, get to work, baby. Get to work. No time off, no rest.
Time is running out, Veach. Get it going. Tick, tick, tick.
You're listening to All Chiefed Up, the podcast.
Chiefs Kingdom ACU crew, welcome back to All Chiefed Up. We're back with another podcast for that ass. It is Tuesday, November the 4th. Mike, when I went to bed last night, I said, Brett Veach, you better be working all night. You better bring me a freaking pass rusher in the morning. And now this video is out, and we all know if it happened or not.
We know. And if it hasn't happened, it's going to happen within a few hours. So Brett Veach, if you haven't got to work yet, get to work, baby. Get to work. No time off, no rest.
Time is running out, Veach. Get it going. Tick, tick, tick. We don't have time for this. Get us a pass rusher.
We've got to have a pass rusher here. I think watching that Bills game the other day, it was won and lost in the trenches. The Bills pass rush got after Mahomes. Yeah. They come out and they played a hell of a game. Look, Jawan Taylor got beat up a few times in the run game. He got beat up a few times in the pass game. Jalen Moore played his worst game he's had at left tackle since filling in for Josh Simmons. He got beat a few times. I want to say he gave up a sack. It just wasn't a good game for the Chiefs' offensive line when it comes to protecting Patrick Mahomes, and you could tell it influenced the entire game. Patrick Mahomes had the lowest completion percentage of his career in a game that Josh Allen had the best completion percentage in his career because we could not do that. We couldn't get after him. We couldn't disrupt him. We couldn't stop what him and Joe Brady had crafted all week. And they just come out and they stuck to what works, Steve. They stuck to the run game. That's what they've been winning with. They stuck to what the defense gives them, and they didn't waver. They earned that win, man. There's nothing about that game. Look, I'm tired of Chiefs fans giving the old cope of, you know, vanilla offense. We don't try. We don't do this bullshit. We just got beat. Just go out there and say we got beat. We got outcoached. We were outmanned. We were outmatched. We were outcoached. We got beat. Accept it and move on.
Right. Well, you talked about the offensive line having their worst day of the season so far. Well, that's expected when your coach refuses to run the effing football, especially when your starting running back was averaging 7.1 yards per carry at one point in the game, and you went away from it. This Bills defense, they were a little banged up. They didn't have certain guys in there, Oliver and guys like that. They were set up to lose this game on the ground. They could not stop Kareem Hunt no matter what they tried, but it didn't matter. They didn't have to. So, yeah, it was very stressful on our offensive line to try to protect Patrick Mahomes because everyone on that defense knew one thing. They're not running the football.
Right.
We're going to drop 7 or 8 guys into coverage, and we're going to rush 3 or 4 guys, and you guys pin your ears back and give them offensive linemen hell. You go at that quarterback with reckless abandon because they will not run the football. That's what they dared Andy Reid to do, and he would not do it, and that's how they got their ass beat. It was a snowball effect from there, man. The offensive line struggled, which made Patrick Mahomes struggle, which made everyone struggle. And our defense, they looked like ass cheeks yesterday.
Yeah, they did. Look, their defensive line, they beat up on our tackles pretty bad. Again, Greg Rousseau, he had 9 pressures and half a sack on 28 rushes. That's the third most this season. That's the most this season and the third most in his entire career. Like, he literally had 6 pressures versus Jawan Taylor on 19 reps. So they just flat out beat us. Bosa looked 5, 6, 7 years younger out there. It was crazy how easy it looked for them and how hard it looked for our pass rush. And people's been on Chris Jones's ass. Look, he's getting a little older. We've not done anything to help Chris Jones at all. Yes, he's getting double and triple teamed, and he used to beat that all the time. I get it. But he is getting a little older. He's getting fatigued. He looks a little more tired. And who can blame him? He's probably frustrated as well. We've got to go out. Brett Veach has got to go out and prove that he can find us a pass rusher that can get after the ball. Because I'm telling you, Mike Dana's not really doing it. Charles Omenihu's not really stepped up. Ashton Gillotte had his best game of the year this week versus the Bills. I want to say PFF had him as the second highest rated rookie pass rusher this week. And it was amazing to watch him line up over Connor McGovern, who's their center. They had Ashton Gillotte in the zero technique, lining straight up on a center, and he was driving them back. And then he just throws them off, and he helps George Karlaftis get that sack on Josh Allen when he tried to escape the pocket. And he ended up finishing with a 76.2 PFF grade behind Jalen Walker. That was the only other rookie edge rusher from Atlanta. And that leads me to believe this, Steve. Atlanta's got a couple pass rushers that Brett Veach maybe should go look at. We talked about this on yesterday's live Q&A. They've got Arnold Ebiketie over there that was drafted by the previous administration. And then we also threw out another name, Lucas Van Ness. Lucas Van Ness is another guy that Brett Veach probably needs to be kicking the tires on here.
Absolutely. You just add them in there with a lot of the other guys that this fan base has been talking about, like Calais Campbell and Jermaine Johnson, who the Jets are willing to deal away, and a lot of other guys that could help us out. Now, there's no one out there that I feel like is going to move the needle a whole lot that we would be able to obtain. But there's someone out there that can absolutely help clean up some of the pressure that George Karlaftis and Chris Jones are able to get. There's got to be someone on the other side. There just has to be. And right now, I don't think it would take a whole lot to kind of step that up on our defensive line, because like you said, Mike Dana, Charles Omenihu not getting the job done. That's just all there is to it. So I think they definitely got to find something. And Mike, you talked about the defensive line was able to get a lot of pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and ours was not able to get pressure on Josh Allen. Obvious reasons for that, right? I mean, Buffalo, they kept handing the rock to James Cook. Whether it worked great or not, they stuck to it, and the Chiefs had to respect it. They couldn't pin their ears back and go after Josh Allen. The only time they ever got much pressure on him was when they blitzed. That's really it, because they had to account for James Cook. There were plays where our guys actually didn't do that and over-pursued. We saw that a few times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was the difference there. I think our defensive line, they could definitely use some help, especially with Omar Norman-Lott being out for the rest of the year. You mentioned Ashton Gillotte. I think he's going to be really good, but he's still in the process of getting there, right? He's a young guy. He's still trying to get comfortable in the NFL. I think they could definitely use the help there. And Brett Veach, if he has not already today, he better be looking, because the time is ticking.
Yeah, time's ticking. Look, you mentioned the run game from Buffalo. Again, that was the first 100-yard rusher that Spags and the Chiefs have allowed since the Christmas game versus the Raiders. I mean, we've done a very good job versus that this year. But Buffalo was not going to be denied. And again, this is why Joe Brady, Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, you have the sports car in Josh Allen. You've got the big bad quarterback that wants to go out and sling the ball and do this and do that. But they have been winning this year, built on their run game. And they were not to be denied. They looked at Spags and they looked at this defense and they said, look, we're going to continue to pound the rock until we get ours. We're not going to waver from this. And Andy Reid and them blinked. They wavered. We knew all week long going into this game that you had to commit to the run game. When they had Daquan Jones go out, when they have guys going on the IR, when Ed Oliver goes on the IR with a pec issue, these guys were susceptible to the run game, and Andy Reid ran the ball 6 out of 7 plays on drive number 2 and marched the ball 53 yards down the field and scored a touchdown after he went 3-and-out passing in the first series. He should have stuck to that, but he didn't do it. Andy Reid can't stick to his guns. He can't stick to what works. He wants to get too cute. He wants to showcase Patrick Mahomes and all the big bad pass plays and all the speedsters and this and that, and he can't just do the simple task, which is to win the game boring if that's what that requires. And if we would have been vanilla like everybody said, and we would have just halfback tossed this, halfback dive this, hell, let's run a fullback dive. They were not stopping it. The only time they stopped it is when Jawan Taylor missed a block. You want to know why Clyde Edwards-Helaire got hit 2 yards in the backfield? Nothing to do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It was because Jawan Taylor missed a block. You want to know why Kareem Hunt didn't get in the end zone there right before the half when we were a foot away on first down? Because Jawan Taylor missed a block. Okay, so it had nothing to do with running backs. It had everything to do with Jawan Taylor not being able to block in the run game. I don't know what his problem was. That ankle may have been bothering him earlier than we thought, but that was the reason, and Andy Reid balked. He couldn't do it. He couldn't stay on task. The Bills did that. They didn't care how they won. They just wanted to beat the Chiefs, and that's why they won, and that's why they beat our ass. It's that simple.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's the thing. The Bills being able to run the football, I mean, like I said, they weren't running crazy on us. We had trouble stopping it from time to time, but they were chunking away at it. They gave a lot of carries to James Cook. I think that's what created the situations that where these tight ends were wide open, right? Because when you have to respect the run game, you can't pin your ears back and go after the quarterback. You can't just be blitzing like crazy. So I think that's what allowed Josh Allen to sit back there in the pocket for 6 seconds and finding a matchup of a tight end like Dalton Kincaid on Drew Tranquill getting roasted. I mean, that kind of stuff, like I said, it was a snowball effect. It was just poor game planning on both sides of the football, and that's all there is to it. But let's look forward past this game a little bit now, Mike. The Chiefs have kind of backed themselves into a corner. They're 5-4. They're 2 games back in the division with only 8 games to play. That is not ideal. Not ideal at all. They're also on the outside looking in at the playoffs right now. They are in the hunt, but they are out of the playoffs at this very moment, which is wild. You would think midway through the season that the Chiefs would at least be in the playoffs. That's not the case, man. So they have their work cut out for them coming up here. A lot of divisional games still yet to be played. 2 against Denver, 1 against LA, and another one against Las Vegas. And the Chiefs literally have to run the table on at least the divisional games, if not the entire 8 games altogether. So how do you feel about it going forward, man? What do the Chiefs need to do to kind of right this ship and make sure they get themselves into the dance? Because if they don't make it there, they can't make a run. But I think this team, just like any other Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes team, if they get there, there's a chance.
Football season is in full swing. We're proud to say that All Chiefed Up has teamed with DraftKings Sportsbook to bring you the best ways to get in on the action this NFL season. DraftKings Sportsbook has industry-leading live betting market availability, meaning their odds update dynamically as the game unfolds, keeping you right in the middle of the most relevant storylines in real time. It takes your fan experience to the next level, and when it comes to betting on touchdowns, DraftKings has you covered with all your favorite options, including first touchdown scorer. So make no mistake about it, DraftKings Sportsbook has all your favorite ways to bet touchdowns this NFL season. For this week's matchups, I'm eyeing some interesting lines, like over-under on total touchdowns for our favorite multi-talented tight end. Plus, maybe even checking out the odds for first touchdown scorer in that high-scoring rivalry between barbecue versus chicken wings. Get in on the action and sign up using our promo code ACU. With DraftKings Sportsbook, the crowd is yours. Absolutely. We just have to get in the dance. Again, you want to get into prom? We just need a date. That's all it is. We just got to get in the door, get the ticket, get in the door. We're going to be fine. The problem is these other teams are winning close games and we're dropping close games. These other teams are having teams fall apart late in the fourth quarter like we had last year, and we're not getting that same luxury this season. It's just not. Everything we're winning is coming very difficult. Now, we have had a lot of nice point differentials in our wins, but all these other games, they're just, the cookie's not crumbling the way we need it to crumble, versus some of the more, what should I say, like the playoff teams, for example, like the Eagles or the Chargers, or this past week versus the Bills. And look, it all relies on what Andy Reid wants to do going forward and what Brett Veach is going to do at this trade deadline. Is he going to go out? Is he going to try to get another running back? Again, I don't understand why you would do that. We've got about $3 million on the cap, and Andy Reid has proven he's not going to run the ball. We could go out and get a situational pass rusher or a guy on the defensive tackle, maybe go for another defensive tackle. I know you did get Pennell, but look, Derek Notty's just not it. I know they love him, and he would probably stay on the roster no matter what if you did grab another interior guy. But I think it all depends on what they do at the trade deadline and how Andy's going to do this going forward. Is he going to continue to be stubborn, or is he going to figure out that you do have to rely on a run game in the NFL? The game's changing a little bit. I think you have to be more aggressive, and Andy was doing that a lot until this week. He got unaggressive somehow.
Yeah.
He lost his aggressiveness.
We didn't go for it on any of those fourth downs except for the 4th and 17.
Right, and they basically had to go for it there, but in a way they really didn't have to go for it. So it's just crazy how they were calling the game. And again, it's committing to the run And I'll bring this up one more time. You were talking about James Cook. He had 27 carries, Steve. James Cook's one of the best running backs in football. He had 27 carries for 114 yards. Do you know how many carries he had that went to double digits? 2. Out of 27 carries, he had 2 double-digit runs. And Chiefs Kingdom thinks that we need to have a guy in the backfield that breaks off a double-digit run every other carry, or it's just ineffective. No. That's not how the running back position works in the NFL. You have to grind, and every once in a while you'll get somebody to mess up. You'll get a missed tackle. You'll get a bad block scheme, and you'll get a guy that can take it to the house, or he'll chunk off a big chunk. But James Cook didn't have that all day. We didn't allow big run after big run. He had 2 runs. I think they were like 14 and 16 yards. That was it. That was his biggest run, was 16 yards.
Right.
And they just kept persistently doing it. And Andy just can't do that. So going forward, Andy has to stop being so stubborn. He has to learn to win ugly, and he needs to keep being aggressive. And if it calls to run the ball 35 times a game, then run the fricking ball 35 times a game. There's no point in having Mahomes slinging the ball all over the yard, passing it 40 times when these guys are dropping back 8, 9 players. And let's talk about this for just one second. When we were on the goal line there, and we were a foot away, do you realize when we ran the ball and Jawan Taylor missed the block, got Kareem Hunt hit in the background, we called the timeout, we go to second down, Patrick Mahomes literally comes to the line, watches what they're going to do, and did you know they dropped 8 players in coverage 1 foot away from the end zone because we were in shotgun, and they knew that we had 0 threat of a run. And I get we didn't have timeouts, but I think you could have ran the ball again there and just got the people on the line and spiked it if you needed to. Especially if you've already said 3 was going to go. They dropped 8 in coverage, Steve, from 1 foot away. Ridiculous. That's how much they did not respect the run game.
You know how much I
got to learn to win.
Here's the thing. When you're a foot away from the end zone and you have 1 timeout, I don't even care to save that timeout for a field goal. We're going to save that timeout for 1 more shot at that touchdown.
Right.
Okay. So that's just absurd. There's no reason we didn't get in right there. It's absolutely insane. Mike, you mentioned the run game. Andy's got to establish the run. Now, a lot of people are under the assumption that he's never going to do that unless we have this amazing back. We're going to have to get Breece Hall here. That's the big name that everybody throws around. It's the one they want. And they think suddenly our run game would change. I, on the other hand, I beg to differ. I don't think Andy Reid's going to run anybody as much as they should. Mike, you pointed out these guys, they need to get into a rhythm. They need a lot of carries. You need a lot of opportunities to be able to break off those big home runs, right? Derrick Henry doesn't go out there and get 88-yard touchdowns every time he touches the ball. He has to run the ball 14, 15, 16 times before he might get that one, right? Same with Saquon Barkley. Same with James Cook. That's just not how it works. You're not going to bring in Breece Hall and think that he's going to get 10 or 11 carries and somehow have 200 yards rushing.
Right. 3 of those are going to be 40-yard carries.
Right. That's never, ever, ever going to freaking happen. And let me just bring this up just to kind of combat some of the things that are thrown our way. Well, when they had Jamal Charles, he ran him to death because Jamal Charles was a premier back. Well, let me tell you something, Mike. What would you guess Jamal Charles' average carries per game was under Andy Reid? What would you guess?
Good question. I would say maybe, I'll just say an even 15. Let's go 15.
Pretty damn close, but you're being too generous. It was 14 carries per game. 14. That's it. You had Jamal freaking Charles in his prime at the beginning or the backside of it.
Well, the other caveat of that is
14 times.
Right. The other caveat of that is you don't have the weapons on the offense that surrounded him. Like Jamal Charles did not have that. You had a quarterback that wasn't Patrick Mahomes. So Andy sees all these toys, and do you think even with Jamal Charles being the focal point, he couldn't even get him over 14 carries a game? So with all these shiny toys and Patrick Mahomes, you're not going to let Breece Hall become suddenly the focal point.
That was literally with Alex Smith and Jeremy Maclin. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like we had an amazing offense. And here's the thing, man. We've said time and time again, we just want to see 20 carries total amongst our running backs. And that makes the Chiefs' chances of winning that football game go up tremendously. I mean, a lot. And we can't even get there with running back by committee. We can't even get to 20 carries sometimes because Andy is just too damn stubborn. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter who we get here or who we have as a running back. If they're not used, it doesn't freaking matter. It could be Barry Sanders himself. If he only gets 10 carries a game, he's probably not going to do that good.
I totally agree. I have no qualms with anything you just said. I fully agree with that. If Jim Brown was in the backfield, if Eddie George was in the backfield, you name it, Le'Veon Bell in his prime, doesn't matter. These guys are not just going to chunk off big play after big play. For one, we run a zone blocking scheme that requires our offensive line to have to make all these crazy reach blocks that they just get beat on over and over.
The plays take so long to develop.
Not only did he run out of shotgun from 1 foot away, but they ran a crazy inside zone scheme where Jawan Taylor had to cut across and get Trey Smith's guy because Trey Smith was going to a linebacker. Why are you trying to get to a linebacker when you need 1 yard? Like not even a yard, it was a foot.
Anyone
just
with a shred of football IQ
Why can't we just run a damn quarterback sneak?
Dude, anybody with a shred of football IQ knows that if he would have went up there, got under center, and hand Kareem Hunt that football, that was a touchdown.
Do you know what they should have done? Here's exactly what I would have done. On the play they ran, you had 2 or 3 wide receivers outside of the tackle box, and it didn't matter what they did. It didn't affect the play. Like, their guy was not worried about what they were doing. The Bills had 2 or 3 guys on that right side. Kelsey was trying to block 2 and 3 guys by himself, and he just got mowed over. Jawan Taylor got mowed over, and they hit Kareem Hunt in the backfield. Oh, yeah, right off the rip, I'm getting that leather and tobacco vibe and that bourbon vanilla. This stuff right here, straight fire, baby. You work hard, you play hard, and we know Chiefs Kingdom cheers hard. And when you do that, it's obvious you work up a little stank. I mean, come on, we're stinky humans who survive on barbecue and Patrick Mahomes highlights. But you don't always want to be at musty level 10. We don't. We're trying to smell nice. And for us, it's this right here, Mando, baby. You wake up, you shower, you start your day, but eventually you start to get a little, ripe. You catch a whiff and you just pray nobody else is offended by your stank bubble. You don't have to walk around smelling like Bigfoot's Grab yourself some Mando full body deodorant or some Mando whole body deodorant spray. They even have whole body deodorant cream. You have no reason to stink. We absolutely love Mando, and that's why we partnered with them to bring their goodness to you. Look, we're super big into fragrances and colognes, and this stuff smells fantastic. This is bourbon leather, and it smells incredible. There's so many reasons to love it. It's safe to use for your pits, to your balls, to your big old disgusting filthy feet. It was created by an actual doctor who wanted to stop the misdiagnosis and mistreatment of odors. Mando is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. And no, that doesn't mean you can be a degenerate piece of and not shower for real. It helps with odor. It doesn't perform miracles. There's 4 scents. This bourbon leather here is fantastic. They also have Clover Woods, Mount Fuji, and Pro Sport scent. So do you want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula? Of course you do. You can find them at Walmart, Target, and other retailers across the country. But for the best deals, go to shopmando.com. You can pick up a Mando starter pack. It's absolutely perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and you get free shipping. Free shipping is huge. I've been known not to order $100 worth of stuff because I didn't want to pay $10 for shipping. And if you don't love it, they'll give you a full refund up to 60 days later. That's how confident Mando is that your balls won't stink. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence head to toe with Mando. Why in the hell can they not, on that 1 foot, can they not throw in a package where you know it's coming? Let's do a package where we QB sneak. Put Gardner Minshew in and let Patrick Mahomes stand in the backfield with 2 quarterbacks like they did versus the Raiders. I think it was the Raiders anyway. But you put 2 quarterbacks in, let Gardner Minshew get under and take the snap. Have Mahomes come out and just set in shotgun and have Kelsey run across the middle and stop and take the snap and push forward. Kelsey can run a QB sneak. He was a QB.
We've done that a million times back in the day.
Just do it. Just do something. Let Kareem Hunt just take it. You would have been better off having a wildcat with Rashee Rice taking a direct snap again than the play they called there.
Yeah, it was terrible.
The fact that Patrick Mahomes is still not given the ability to audible out of stuff like this, it blows my mind. that he can come
and
to the line and see all this.
if he does have that ability, then he's not.
I never see him do it. I don't think I've ever
seen
seen Patrick Mahomes audible a play. I could be wrong. Maybe he's doing it silently somehow, but I don't usually ever see it. Like, it's nothing like you used to see from like Peyton Manning.
Absolutely. Guys, appreciate you all being here with us today. Do us a favor, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. Help this get out to more people. Share it with your friends and family. If you're watching on X or Facebook or whatever, do the same thing. And then if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can give us a 5-star review, write some kind words. Mike, like I said, they have their backs against the wall going forward here. So here's the thing that comforts me just a little bit. I still think this team has a very high ceiling. I think they are the most talented team in the Patrick Mahomes era. They've yet to scratch the surface of that ceiling, but I think that they were on the right track up until this week against Buffalo. And then if we look at the other teams here, the freaking Chargers are getting banged up so bad. They barely have an offensive line left. They already had Rashawn Slater out for the season, and now they have Joe Alt out for the season.
Yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, they're getting banged up. And also the Chargers will charge her. They will screw up along the way, some way, somehow. Same with Denver. Denver's literally been getting beat by bad football teams and somehow pulling it out of their asshole at the very last minute. Okay, one of these days, that's not going to work for them. So I feel good about the Chiefs being able to still win this division as long as they take care of business in the head-to-head matchups. If they could take the Donkeys down twice and they could take the Chargers down and take down Vegas one more time, I feel really, really good about the Chiefs' chances of winning this division because I truly believe that all of those teams are going to drop games.
At some point, they have to drop some games. I just don't see Denver running the table from here out.
They're 7-2. There's no way.
Well, I'll say this. They should have almost lost every game they've been in.
That's what I'm saying. And there's been bad teams
and they
beating
found
them.
a way to win. But it also is a saying that good teams find a way to win close games. And at least they've been doing that.
Was it even a close game? They were getting blown out and scored 33 points in one quarter, dude.
That may make it more impressive, actually.
Yeah, that's crazy, though.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's more points than they scored the rest of the season combined.
Yeah, again, I'm going to go back to the trade deadline. I think that we have to do something to improve this pass rush. We just have to do it. I'm not worried about the running back, but you've seen the Eagles go out and get Jalen Phillips. We had talked about going and getting him. They give up a 3rd-round pick for him. Like, that is insane. Where was Brett Veach on that? Like, I would have gladly done that. The Titans went out today. Like, we are big friends with Borgonzi in the Titans front office, and they just traded a pass rusher, Draymond Jones, to the Ravens. The Ravens are still buyers. Okay, they're still buyers. They're not giving up on nothing. So they're buying. They send a conditional 5th-round pick to a pass rusher that would come in and instantly be our 2nd, 3rd best guy.
Do you find it odd, though, that they traded away Odafe and then turned around and tried to obtain more pass rush?
It is crazy. But look, the Jets right now are saying they're getting calls about Jermaine Johnson. You've got the Bengals saying that Hendrickson is on the trade block and they want a 1st-round pick. Again, I don't think they're going to trade with us. They're trying to get rid of, all these guys. There's so many guys out there. We just had Jordan Schultz reporting tonight. While we're recording this, that former 1st-round pick, Mozzie Smith, he's been linked to the Chiefs. He's a healthy and active tonight as we're recording this, and they think he is in the trade market for tomorrow. Might he be a guy we wake up and see tomorrow in a Chiefs uniform? I don't know, but Brett Veach does have to do something. I think if Brett Veach sits on his hands right now and he does not do anything and he relies on this defensive line, I think that's a miscalculation here because I feel like they are already tired and worn out by week 9 going into the bye week. I really do. I think that Omar Norman-Lott getting injured has now put a big damper on this rotation. I feel like Ashton Gillotte, although he is developing, he's a little undersized, and so he is very situational. Now, again, he went up and played a zero tech and beat a center playing nose tackle. So he can do it. But the thing is you can't rely on it to be all the time. He's still just a rookie learning. And so Chris Jones is by himself. George Karlaftis, we're not seeing Omenihu paying out this year. He's just not doing it. And Mike Dana's not having the greatest of years so far either. But we're just not seeing all that QB pressure that we're used to seeing. We're having to get creative and send guys, and Spags is having to do stuff. And look, Spags is just, in my opinion, Spags is hampered with Chamari Connor blindness at the moment. It's been a detriment to this team. You have to wonder too if Bossa is going to get any snaps in the second half of the season going forward, because our linebackers literally cannot cover half the time. So you've got so many problems there that needs to be addressed. And look, that's what the Bills do. The Bills come out every year. They put together a perfect game plan. They kick the shit out of us. And then going forward, Andy Reid has till we get to the playoffs to correct the problems that they exposed and add some new wrinkles, right? This is what happens every year. It's like clockwork. But you've got to be able to add some pass rush here. I'm telling you, I think that is going to be a vital misstep by Brett Veach if he does not go out and add to the pass rush right now. I really do. I think we could be looking back and being like, they wasted a nice little, a nice team. This is a nice team, man.
It's a really good team. And obviously they haven't got to where they need to be yet, but I really do feel like they're a good team and they could be something special. They just got to get the burners on and get going. Like, and you know, it sucks that you see like the coaching staff kind of hindering that sometimes, like in the Buffalo game and things like that, or maybe the personnel's just not all the way there. Like you're talking about in the defensive line. Mike, you mentioned Mozzie Smith. That's a guy that the Chiefs were linked to in that draft.
Yes.
A lot of people thought they were going to try to come up and get him in the first round. Obviously, that was smoke and mirrors. That's not what happened. He ended up in Dallas, but he's the perfect Brett Veach target, right? He's that guy that was, first of all, he was interested in him. He got drafted. He didn't work out where he's at, and now we can take a shot at him. That seems like a very Brett Veach thing to do. Now, would I be extremely happy about that and think that, oh, our problems are solved? Probably not. But I would rather see that than absolutely nothing done. And did you see where they asked Clark Hunt about Brett Veach and the trade deadline? This was what Clark had to say. Quote, Brett Veach has always been historically aggressive at the trade deadline. If he feels we have a need, he's not shy about addressing it. And I think that's going to be true again this year. So this is the owner fully expecting Brett to go out and make something happen at the trade deadline. So if you're watching this right now and it is the day of the deadline and nothing has happened yet, I'm going to be really surprised. I just don't understand why Brett would sit on his hands here.
I'm with you. I don't understand that at all. I just seen where Jeremy Fowler had reported, I forget exactly what he said, but he said that the Chiefs were looking to make, and it's not a perfect quote, but off the top of my head, he said they're looking to add defensive depth. That's not a huge splash. Surprise, surprise. This is what we've been talking about for days now. And then also they did say that running back, they're still hearing that running back is not completely out of it. And then while we're recording this, Austin Green of the New York Times comes out and says that Chuba Hubbard could be done in Carolina. That is a running back that has been rumored to be on the trade block, and people have linked him to Kansas City. Could that be a sign that maybe Brett Veach is sniffing around Chuba Hubbard? Could that be somebody that we wake up to tomorrow? I don't know. But again, Chuba Hubbard is not, Alvin Kamara, right? Chuba Hubbard is not Breece Hall. So does Chuba Hubbard move the needle for Chiefs Kingdom? Are they going to get horned up for Chuba Hubbard? Are they going to have a Chuba for Hubba? I don't think so.
No, they're not getting the Chubb for that. Why would you?
Chubb for Chuba.
Not going to happen.
See the T-shirts.
Mike, I just want to point out a couple more things about the game with the Buffalo Bills. Did you know that Rex Ryan himself, he actually said that the Bills were built to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. That's all they've been building their team for over all these years, is to beat the Chiefs.
We've said this.
He said, that's why I took the Bills to win this game, because I know Kansas City is not going to run the football. Buffalo can't stop a nosebleed when you run the ball, but I know they won't run it. It's pretty bad when it's that obvious, right? It's pretty bad when it's that obvious.
You said Rex Ryan said that?
Yeah.
A historically horrible coach.
Dude, even he knew.
That couldn't win in this league, but yet he would have figured out a way to beat Andy Reid because he would have built the team just like this.
Right.
He was building teams in the AFC East.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know if Brett Veach decides to go out and just do defensive line or defensive players, defensive depth, however you want to put it, or if he does decide to go out and get some help at the running back position, because obviously they're not happy with Elijah Mitchell. I mean, they had Clyde Edwards-Helaire in there. It took two carries. Elijah Mitchell, a healthy scratch, which is weird because he's on the 53-man roster and Clyde was not. So it's just very confusing. Now, we don't know. Obviously, Isaiah Pacheco's going to be touch and go with the MCL sprain, but I do think he'll be back here in a few weeks, probably playing a little bit. So not super worried about that. But one thing that is a positive for the Chiefs, Mike, that we already know has happened is that Josh Simmons returned to the team facilities after missing the last 4 games to tend to a personal family matter. It's about damn time, baby. We needed him back, man, especially in this last game against Buffalo. You saw Juwan Taylor go down with an injury. You saw Kingsley Suamataia go down with an injury. You're at a certain point to where, guys, if we're missing people, Wanye Morris is starting at tackle, which is wild. We're at a point to where if, Kingsley can't roll, or like Trey Smith couldn't last week, you got Mike Caliendo in there, which people are not happy with either. So it's very vital that we got Josh Simmons back at this point. Hopefully he can get back into football shape, be ready to go by the time this bye week is over. And we can at least have a full strength offensive line going forward to make this run. So that's some good news in our favor.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. They're saying that the Chiefs could be sellers at this trade deadline when you're watching tomorrow, and they said that cornerback depth could be a big thing that we unload. So
get rid of Christian Fulton, bro. He's not even playing.
If you're going to unload there, I do believe you need to make some moves on the opposite end. And look, it's been rumored that the Commanders are trying to maybe get rid of Nick Allegretti. Do you bring him back into the fold here? They're also talking about the tackle that we let go that went to the Commanders as well. The name slips my head right now. Andrew Wiley. Thank you. Somebody would have let me know in the chat. But look, Andrew Wiley is also being rumored. If you were Brett Veach, would you kick the tires on maybe sending something out to them and maybe seeing if you could get something out of Wanye at the trade deadline? Like, I think the Wanye experiment might be over in Kansas City as well.
Thank God. That one needs to be over. I just don't think Wanye has.
Do you think you can get anything from Wanye? I mean, at least like a 7th-round pick swap.
Maybe. It would be something very small.
With a hole in it?
Yeah, it'd be something very, very small. It'd be kind of like the Sky Moore trade where you just kind of swap a pick and you take this guy and get him off our hands. I think it'd be a lot like that. But yeah, man, the Chiefs definitely have their work cut out for them going forward. I see a lot of people talking about missing the playoffs this year and stuff like that. And I really don't think that's where we are yet. Even Nick Wright said he expects his team to run Denver down, win the division, finish 12-5. He thinks that the Chiefs will rematch Buffalo in Buffalo and beat them for their last game in the current Highmark Stadium. That's what he thinks is going to happen. Would that surprise me? No, not at all. But we'll just have to wait and see, man. It's going to be very interesting. It all hinges on what Brett Veach does right here in the waning hours of the trade deadline. And it also depends on how Andy Reid gets this team set up going forward and how they execute, how they game plan. I think you got to take a lot about what you've learned over the last few weeks, and you really have to fix it going forward because the Chiefs' their margin for error is gone. From here on out, guys, you have to win. These are must-win games every single week, and that's how they're going to have to approach this. End of story. But we appreciate you guys being here today. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. We'll be back with a lot more content this week, so keep an eye out. Go Chiefs, baby. See you next time.